Hey guys, Eerie is here and welcome along to another video. Now up until this point, you've had to spend big bucks to get all the car controls you need within your thumb reach. Probably something like this. But now you don't need to because Fanatec have bought out their brand new CSL Universal Hub, which does a lot of the stuff the previous thing I just showed you does, but for a fraction of the price. So I'm going to take you through this. I'm going to show you what you get in the box. I'm going to show you what it's all about, and then we're going to take it for a spin and I'll let you know whether you should be adding something like this to your sim racing setup. So quick disclaimer guys, I got this for free from Fanatec. They sent it through. So I'm allowed to be, as brutal as I want with this. If it's rubbish, I'm allowed to say. If it's really good, obviously I'm allowed to say. But just from a realism point of view, probably I'm looking at this through rose-tinted glasses a little bit, but that's only natural. If a brand you like anyway sends you something to look at for free, then obviously you're going to be starting off from a point of positivity. So probably worth just bearing that in mind as we go through it. But I'm going to tell you exactly what I think about it. So don't worry. Let's open the box then, shall we? So this is the box here, your normal Fanatec style box. We won't go into that too much. We're going to open it up. We've got the normal Fanatec motivational wording here. So being second is the first of the ones who lose. So I'd like to come second, to be honest. At the moment my racing isn't going that great, so I'd take second right now, Fanatec. But the minute you open the box, you're greeted with a pack of stuff, pack of documents, if you like. You get some stickers, fairly self-explanatory. You also get a little slip of paper telling you about support, so you can get it on the website or in videos, or even scan this little code here and it will take you to more support. But this is probably the main bit where you'll find all the support in the instruction manual. And now I'm a typical bloke. I like to think I know how to put flat pack together without instructions, often to my detriment, but I would highly recommend that you actually read this if you buy it, because there's a couple of new features with this CSL Universal Hub that you're going to want to know about. One is the new QR system here, and secondly, probably most importantly, there's a bit on the very back page that is the button mapping. So what that does is it tells you what all the new buttons do and what they correlate to on PC and your console. So rather than you sitting there flicking away with all the buttons and see what happens, oh, I press that one and the windscreen wiper comes on, and oh, I press that one and the indicator comes on, it tells you all in here. So read this, guys, if you get it. So instructions out of the way. Let's get the box again. You've got a bit of polystyrene here, which you just yank off. This is the hub itself, but underneath the hub you get a couple of tools here. So you get this tool, and then you get this tool, which is basically an Allen driver, basically. And those are significant tools. You need those because when we get the hub out itself, let's get rid of the box and let's get rid of all the plastic. This is it. This is the hub itself. So looks pretty cool, made of plastic. We'll talk about the front in a moment, but on the back is where the tools come in. So this tool here, there it is used to unscrew all these bits. And then this tool here is to go in these three bolts here. But I'm going to tell you why that is in a moment. So this is the new quick release system. It's basically a spinning system. So if I spin it round here, you'll see the lock there. So all you do is you jam it into whatever hub you're using in the normal way, and then you twist it. There's a little white line that you probably won't be able to see on the camera, but what you do is you twist it till that disappears, and then you're in, which is, I think, pretty good because you don't need tools anymore. You know, it's even simpler than the quick release you get on the podiums. So here you go. Here's an example of a quick release on the podium. Does it like that. But this is simple. Bung it on, give it a twist, and you're away. So that's the first new feature of this universal hub. So let's look at the front. So you've got these holes here, which basically mean you can put any wheel that you want on it, basically. As long as it fits that whole pattern and all the technical specs, by the way, we'll talk about them later when we're out on track, but all the technical specs are in the link in the description down below. But in a nutshell, you can use any Sparco wheel, Momo wheel, OMP wheel, anything that has this whole pattern you can use and attach to the wheel, which is, I think, as I say, pretty damn good. Next is obviously the LED screen here that you can see. So that's going to come up with your speed and stuff and your gear number. And then we've got a bunch of buttons on these two, what they call button islands. So buttons are buttons and you can press a bunch of them. So the main ones, or the main additions here, is you've got a rocker switch here now, which is like a sideways light switch, if you don't know what a rocker switch is. And also you've got a funky switch here. So basically you can twist it left and right, up, down, left, right. You can push it in. Basically I control a lot of my car with that one button. The rest of it is fairly self-explanatory. Lots of buttons, basically. You've got the normal shifters here. These obviously aren't the magnetic ones like you get on the podium. So they're not like these here, here and here, because the magnetic shifters, I should say, on here cost more than the entire CSL Universal Hub. So now you know why you're not getting magnetic shifters on this, but they're perfectly good enough. If you've used the McLaren wheel that I've used before, you know, they're perfectly good. But not having them is why you can get this at this price point. So this costs €149, which I think is a bargain for what this is. The next one up, so in Fanatec world, you've got the CSL range, which is the entry level. You've got the Club Sport range, which is the mid level, and then you've got the podium range, like that wheel down there, which is the highest level. So this is the entry level. So the next one up is €349. So for €200 cheaper, you can get this. And I think it looks better and it's got more functionality. It also has its party piece. So this screw goes into, well, there's 3 here, but I've pre-loosened 2 outside ones. Get this in here, loosen this up, and what you can do is this. It moves in and out and you can tighten it at whatever width you want. So what that means is you can have it on pretty much any wheel diameter to your taste. As long as they fit these holes here, as long as you can bolt a wheel to the front of it, you can then move this to any width you want. It's an absolute game changer. It allows you to bring any wheel, like the ones that I spoke to you about before and mentioned before, into the Fanatec ecosystem, because even wheels without any of this stuff isn't cheap. So any time that you can repurpose them or anything like that, I think is great. So that is the main party piece of the Universal Hub, is that it's truly universal. It can go on anything you want, really, to be quite honest, as long as it fits those holes. But it's all well and good me talking about it and showing you it and pointing it in your face like this. What is it like out on track? So let's go check it out on track. I've loaded up the Nürburgring, the only place really to put things through its paces, and you can see it firsthand, what it looks like in use. And while I do that, I'll use that as B-roll while I'll take you through the more technical specs and go through things in a bit more detail. And as I said at the beginning, whether I think that you should bring this into your sim racing setup. So here we are then on the Nordschleife on Gran Turismo Sport. Apologies for the change in my voice. I've gone from my streaming mic to my voiceover mic so I can read you all the technical specs, which is probably why I sound a little bit different. But anyway, as I say, I'm going to go over all the technical specs of the hub now. The expanding design, the buttons that are on the wheel, and the new tool-free simplified quick release. Bit of a mouthful. And then finally I'm going to go through some very important information about compatibility, so hang around for that. And as mentioned, at the end I'll give you my view on whether I think you should add this to your sim racing setup or not. So starting with the expanding design, the unique and innovative, in my view, expanding design. You've just not seen this before on any other piece of sim equipment, well, that I've seen anyway. So to clarify, all rims using the 6x70mm or 3x50mm bolt pattern, so any Sparco, Momo, OMP wheel or anything like that, will go on this hub. The slider mechanism, which allows for different positionings of the button islands and the shifter paddles, will suit pretty much all those wheel sizes. And the slider mechanism, just to clarify, expands by 60mm in total. So the shifter paddles adjust from 214mm at their smallest to 274mm at their widest points. The buttons then? The buttons, those two islands have 8 standard buttons with the normal snap-down application. So it clicks down basically. You've also got the two-way rocker switch that I showed you earlier, and two-way toggle switches, so they're at the top at either side of those islands. And then finally you've got the 7-way funky switch, my favourite switch of the lot. So you can go left, right, up, down. From a directional point of view, you can push it in and you can twist it for rotary encoder functionality. So anything that you could possibly want to control, you can control with this hub. Spinning it round, on the back is the tool-free simplified quick release. So a bit of a mouthful, but essentially it's as it says on the tin. It's an improved, easier way of putting your wheel on and off. There's no clamping bolt required or anything like that. But crucially, with the silver tool, it's exchangeable. So you can put this hub on the Club Sport quick release adapter, which you need to unlock the high torque mode on the podium wheelbases. So just to confirm, you can't just put this on a wheelbase, a podium one. You need to have the quick release because it's stronger. Obviously this is made of plastic, so you're going to have an issue when you've got that many newton meters of torque going through a plastic adapter. So that's why you need the Club Sport quick release adapter on that. So that probably brings me on quite nicely to the important bits of information. So aside from that, this is only compatible on PC and PS4. So to confirm, it's not compatible with Xbox. So don't buy this if you have an Xbox because you won't be able to use it. And as I just mentioned, the high torque mode on the podium wheelbases is only available when using the Club Sport quick release adapter with this hub. It will go on the DD, but it won't allow you to use the high torque. So I think they're all the technical specs. I think the only last thing to say, and I mentioned it earlier, is that it's basically 100, well, comes in at just shy of 150 euros. And if you have any other questions that I haven't mentioned here, do drop them in the comment section down below and I'll be sure to either answer them myself or I'll find out the information and get somebody else to answer them for you. So I guess the final part of this video is going to be, do I recommend that you should buy one? And I would say if there is a gap in your sim racing equipment for this, then yes, absolutely. If you're looking for that more immersive feeling of having every control you could possibly want at your thumb tips at a very reasonable price, then go out and grab one of these. You will not be disappointed. Also with this, the list of possibilities of wheels you can use with your Fanatec wheelbase is now absolutely endless, as long as they fit those bolt patterns that I mentioned earlier. You could potentially have a round wheel, a GT style flat wheel and a U-shaped wheel all on the same base now, which is something currently unique to Fanatec in the marketplace. But If you want one of these things, if you're familiar with Fanatec, you'll know this already. With all new Fanatec stuff, they go like hotcakes. So if you want one, I highly recommend you head to my link in the description, which is an affiliate one, by the way, so I do get a kickback if you do buy something from there. So thank you in advance if you do. Go get yourself one of those if you want one on the website before they all go. But for now, guys, that is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed the video and enjoyed the first look at the Fanatec CSL Universal Hub. If you did, please do hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed to the channel if you haven't already. But thanks again so much for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers.